Hello there. Good afternoon. Hi, everybody. I'm Maggie O with Homeschool with Maggie O, your homeschool mentor. Welcome back to my curriculum review series on math. We're building our math library right now, and we're continuing with another math review. And today we're looking at Math with Confidence by math educator Kate Snow. So far, we've explored Matthew C., Saxon Math, My Academy, and Math Mammoth. Today, we're looking at a very different option. Math with Confidence is a parent led, hands on curriculum designed around short lessons, conceptual understanding, games, activities, and written practice. The series begins with preschool math at home and continues through now sixth grade math with confidence. As always, I'm going to first show you how the curriculum works, and then we'll run it through my Maggie O curriculum fit lens to look specifically at who may find this curriculum to be of a particularly good fit and why. So let's take a look. So let me start with sharing my screen. Here we go. We are right on the Math with Confidence um, page. And this takes us, we're right here, and this page is from Well Trained Mind Press. One of the first things you'll notice is that this curriculum is designed not only to help children develop confidence in math, but also to help parents feel confident teaching it. And that is an important part of how this program is designed. And I love this about this program. This is a parent led curriculum, like I mentioned, and unlike an online program where the computer delivers the instruction, you as the parent are actively teaching the math lesson. However, the program is designed to make that teaching straightforward. Each level includes a scripted, open and go instructor guide. Very supportive. So the curriculum gives you clear guidance for what to teach and how to teach it. You don't have to be a math expert or create your own lessons. So let's talk about the approach. The lessons are designed to be short and hands on. Each daily lesson generally has three main parts. You're going to have your memory and review, your hands on teaching, and workbook time. And the website is very easy to flow and follow. You can go through across the top and you can click on more. This is just very intuitive. So you have the memory work and review, the hands-on teaching, and the workbook time. So the parent introduces and teaches the concept, often using simple hands-on activities or games, and that makes it kind of fun. Then the child has written practice to reinforce what they've learned. The lessons generally focus on one primary concept at a time while also providing continual review of previously learned skills, which is important for math. The curriculum is organized into units, with each unit typically focusing on a mathematical topic for several weeks. There are 5 lessons scheduled each week, but the fifth lesson is optional and can be used for enrichment and additional review. That gives families some kind of built in flexibility. So let's look at the available levels. And this is your complete series. Math with Confidence begins with preschool. And that is, let's see here, hang on, the preschool. Okay, here we go. And you do preschool math at home. And then we have the kindergarten. I don't have the preschool here pulled up. I thought I did. Um, yeah, the preschool math at home is for where you begin for the littles if you're going to do that. And then you go into your kindergarten, first grade, second, third, and it goes all the way down third, third. We can keep forwarding this page, fifth, sixth, sixth. That's where it ends. So this is important to understand before choosing the program. Math with Confidence is not a K through 12. It's up through sixth grade. So if you're wanting right now, if you already know you want one curriculum to take you from the beginning all the way through high school, I would not consider this one. It's only right now going through the sixth grade, which I think the sixth grade is a new addition too. I don't that's a newer addition. So that's to say that they're continuing to build. And depending on the age of your child, you could take that into consideration. Um, After completing sixth grade math, most students are expected to be ready to move into pre-algebra program. So families using this curriculum will eventually transition to another math program for middle and high school, which could be like a Saxon math for just for an example. So now let's talk about what you actually need to use this curriculum. For each grade level, you need the instructor guide for the parent, the student workbook. So here you have this is the instructor guide. Here is the workbook, and each one has that the instructor guide and the workbook, or workbooks for the child, depending on how many there are. As they get into some of the higher grades, you start to see like workbook A, workbook B, and the workbooks provide the child's written practice. Most of the hands-on activities use simple household objects rather than requiring families to purchase a large specialized manipulative kit. So that's kind of cool. Depending on the level, you may use items such as counters, coins, cards, dice, measuring tools, or other common materials. The website provides information about the supplies needed for each particular level. There are also free printable materials available for items such as game boards and other teaching resources. So before beginning a level, I would look at the materials list and gather what you need. So let's just open one grade level. I'm just going to pull number 3 here. Let's open this. And here we are. They call this third grade math with confidence. And what you're actually purchasing um, in this is just the instructor guide. And here is a sample. Let's look at this sample. Let's go down here a little bit further. Let's just pull one. So here's Unit 2, Multiplication Part 1. And it'll tell you what your child will learn, the lesson list. So here is like lesson 2.1 is equal groups, 2.2 is arrays, times 2 facts, multiply. It'll tell you verbatim extra materials needed. 5 small bowls or boxes or bowls for optional enrichment, a 2 by 2 um, a, a 2 by 2 equals boo, a set of spooky multiplication stories. Um, 24 small snack items such as raisins, pieces of cereal. So see, it tells you everything. Teaching math with confidence using strategies, not skip counting, to mastery to master the multiplication facts. And so it's very, very well laid out. It tells you, it spoon feeds it to you. So that is the teacher's manual. And then let's look at the student workbook A and B sample. And see, it's colorful and it's pretty, very visually appealing, and it looks kind of fun. It doesn't look sterile, I will say that. So that's kind of cool. But this is where the student does their work. And let's see, the Black Line Masters. These are digital copies. Um, it says that you'll use these pages often throughout the book. Some are for modeling important concepts, while others provide helpful reference information. So like memory work, how to read word problems. That's cool. That's a good one. Place value chart. So I'm just going to pull this down here. See, oh yeah, and see you can print this and you could reproduce it too. for multiple learners. So that's supplemental. And here it shows you required products, um, recommended products. So there's supplements. It gives you the pricing so you can see the pricing. I will tell you this again as a little tip. You could also go to Rainbow Resource Center and to compare the prices, and you could pick and choose what you're wanting and do it that way. And then sometimes on Amazon, you can even get the used versions of things. They might be an older edition, but if you're trying to be thrifty, that's not a bad way to do it. And also going to places like half price books, sometimes they'll have what you need as well. And of course, you're not paying full price. So keep that in mind. That's an option. Okay, so this is where we already talked about the parent book and the workbooks, and then we looked at the samples. I really do like the colorfulness of this. So I want to talk about placement. Um, Math with Confidence does not use a traditional placement test in the same way that some of the other math programs we've reviewed do. Instead, the publisher provides guidance to help parents determine the appropriate level. So I want to go back to this. Um, yeah, it gives you, I would go through here and kind of look through this. And that way you can find any additional information where she's providing guidance for you. And here's other resources. If I can come up here. And this is the one we're talking. Yeah, see, here's a resource area. And I would go through this. You can, the math with, here's this placement assessment and tips. They have an article here and they do discuss more of the placement um, options. Here again are more samples. Remember, I'm real big about anytime you can get a sample. I love samples and I like to see them. I like to look inside what I'm buying before I buy it. And so, anytime you've got all kinds of video support here, people giving you some more information about them. And I encourage you to go here to their site. And then here's like a full book, a workbook, and letting you see inside that. Reputable companies are going to let you take a peek inside before you buy something because we all, as homeschoolers, know how important that is. So if you're entering math with confidence after using another curriculum, I would not automatically just choose level based on only your child's age or grade. And look at the scopes and sequences, look at the samples, look at what your child already knows, and look at what they're ready to learn next. That will give you a much better idea of the appropriate starting point. So, a typical lesson before we stop sharing the screen, I want to summarize what using this curriculum actually looks like. This is a parent and child math experience. You're generally going to begin and with review and memory work. Then you're going to teach the day's concept using the scripted guidance in the instructor's guide that we looked at a minute ago. There may be some hands-on activity or games like we saw with suggestions on what, tools or resources or, items that you would need. And then your child will complete the workbook practice. So, although this curriculum is designed or described as an open and go does not mean independent. And I think that's really, at this point, an important distinction to make. When parents talk, especially homeschoolers, and I do find young homeschool parents, when they're talking about open and go in their mind, they mean literally open and go for the student to be independent, open and go. But that is not necessarily what that means. It means that the preparation has largely been done for you. And in here it has been. It's right there. Even with the math mammoth, it was done for you. It was right there. You open the instructor guide and you teach the lesson. Saxon math, I can speak to it same way. But it's truly not, I think what I don't think that's what some of us mean when we say open and go. So keep that in mind, and it's an important distinction. Okay. So now let's run math with confidence through my Maggio curriculum fit lens. Learning style first. Let's talk about learning style fit. Hands on and kinesthetic learners. Strong potential fit. Hands on teaching, games, and activities are intentionally built into this program. Children aren't expected to learn math exclusively from a workbook. Auditory learners, strong potential fit because the parent is actively teaching and discussing mathematics with the child. Auditory learners have the opportunity to hear the concepts and engage in conversation and talk through the concepts and what they're thinking. Visual learners, I think it's a strong potential fit for visual. Students have visual workbook pages. They're so pretty and well laid out. They're very appealing, and they can see the concepts demonstrated through hands-on materials and activities. Read-write learners also supported through the student workbooks, although the workbook is not intended to replace the parent-led teaching. Independent learners. This is not the strongest fit if your primary goal is for an independent math. And again, be careful of the term open and go. We just covered that. I think that needs to be a little bit revisited as to how we use that term. Open and go means it was done, the prep was done for you. You still have to teach it in this situation, but the prep is done for you. So it doesn't necessarily highlight that you have an independent learner, open and go. The curriculum is intentionally designed around the parent teaching the child. Older children may certainly complete some workbook practice independently, but the core instruction is parent led. Let's talk about our unique learner consideration as whether or not this is a fit. For a child with math anxiety or low confidence, I see strong potential here. The lessons are designed to be short and approachable, and children experience math through conversation and games and hands on activities. We're talking movement, written practice, rather than simply facing a large page of problems. So I think it could be a really strong fit. For some children with ADHD, the variety between discussion, hands on learning, games, and workbook practice may actually maintain engagement and help in that. The shorter lesson structure may also be beneficial. However, this does require consistent parental involvement. This does require consistent parental involvement. For a child with dyslexia or significant reading difficulties, the parent led instruction may be a benefit because the child is not expected to learn the mathematical concept primarily by reading lengthy written explanations independently. For a child who needs additional repetition, the curriculum includes continual review. The optional fifth lesson each week can provide additional practice and enrichment. As always, children with significant learning disabilities may need individualized adaptations or additional intervention beyond any standard curriculum. For the homeschool philosophy fit, I see math with confidence fitting very naturally with classical homeschool families, particularly because it is published by Well Trained Mind Press. Um, and Susan Wise Bauer wrote the Well Trained Mind book, which was her big guide. And she's expanded big time, but it was a guide meant for classical approached homeschool philosophies, and its methods align with those philosophies. I also see a strong fit for eclectic homeschoolers who want a solid hands on math component, families who value parent child interaction and active teaching may particularly appreciate this approach. It may also appeal to families who want a gentler elementary experience without sacrificing systematic math instruction. Charlotte Mason inspired families may appreciate the shorter lessons and hands on approach, although this is still a structured math curriculum rather than a specifically Charlotte Mason math program. Families seeking completely independent or technology based learning will probably find other programs more aligned with their goals. I don't think this would be your program. And from a parent involvement standpoint, I would rate parental involvement as very high here. It's designed to be that way. And I don't mean that negatively. That is simply how the curriculum is designed. You're the teacher. The benefit is that the program scripts and organizes it for you. So, while your direct involvement is high, your lesson plan and burden is relatively low. That part's done for you. So this could be described as high teaching involvement, low preparation. The strongest fit category, I would put math with confidence high on my research list for children who would benefit from hands on learning, who enjoy math games and activities, who need shorter, approachable lessons, who benefit from learning directly with a parent, who need math presented through multiple methods rather than just a workbook page alone, parents who want scripted guidance, a parent who lacks confidence teaching math and wants clear instructions. You don't have to be intimidated to teach math just because you don't feel confident in math yourself. It's guiding you. And that's huge. That's a huge benefit. A family looking for an open and go elementary math curriculum, and a child who needs a balance of conceptual understanding, skill practice, and continual review. I would add caution and I would investigate just a little bit more carefully if you need math to be highly independent. This is not that. You homeschool several children and cannot devote regular one-on-one teaching time to math. Your child strongly prefers learning online. You want automatic grading. You want a curriculum that continues through middle and high school. Or your child strongly dislikes games and hands-on activities and would rather work independently from a textbook. So for my final comparison, now we have another very different option in our math curriculum library. We have Math UC, gives us a mastery learning with a strong manipulative system. Saxon gives us incremental learning and continual cumulative review. My Academy gives us customizable online learning. And Math Mammoth gives us a conceptually focused, mastery oriented work text that can become increasingly independent. And now we have Math with Confidence, and that gives us a short, hands on, parent led approach with scripted instruction. Again, none of these are automatically better. The experience of using them is completely different from family to family. And that is why understanding your child and understanding your own needs as the homeschool parent are both so very important. So that's our look at math math with confidence today. My biggest takeaway with this curriculum is that it is designed to build confidence on both sides of the homeschool table, which I love. The child receives short, hands-on, carefully sequenced math instruction, and the parent receives clear, scripted guidance for actually teaching it. If you want an open and go program, but you also want to be actively involved in teaching your child's math, this is absolutely one I would put on your research list. And just remember that open and go does not mean hands off. This is a parent led curriculum. I'm Maggie O with Homeschool with Maggie O, your homeschool mentor. I hope this helped you determine whether math with confidence might be a good fit for your child and your family. And remember, the goal isn't to find the curriculum everyone else says is best. The goal is to find the best fit for your child or children sitting right in front of you. So until our next math review, see you next time. Have a great homeschooling experience. Talk soon.